Hello friends, welcome back to the Daniel-Mabry project. I am here in Breckenridge, Colorado, where I've been for, I guess, almost 2 weeks here between Breckenridge and Dillion. While I spent some time in Dillion, I got to hang out with my friend Parker Johnson, which is his podcast. So Parker's an interesting guy, met him through Instagram. He was friends with Chance Allen, who was an early guest on the podcast, and we started following each other ever since then. Parker really got my attention whenever he bought a snub-nosed school bus and started making it into a livable space. Van life is something that I've always been interested in, and obviously in my travels I have started to live very simply and try to find other ways of alternative living, I guess. But yeah, I really started paying attention to Parker and conversating with him whenever he bought the bus and started fixing it up. And then he took a job in Dillion, Colorado, building ice castles. And we talk about how he got the bus, and what led him to the point of getting the bus and driving it up to Dillion, and where it is now, what he's had to do with it since then. And we just had a really good time. I really am very thankful of Parker. As you'll see, he is a little injured. So if you see this and you didn't know that, send him some love. Send him some love anyway. Great dude and very humble, and I'm just very appreciative of his friendship and just allowing me to come hang out with him for like 7 days, and had never met him in real life ever. So yeah, Parker lives a cool life, and I think he will continue to do so. So be sure to follow him at Smoky River Johnson, I believe. I'll put it right here and in the bottom as well. If you want to support me, support this podcast, the easiest way to do it is just to subscribe. Subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on whatever listening platform you're currently consuming this podcast on. I have quit my job and sold my house, and I'm living on the road. I'm not hurting by any means just yet, but I do not have any income. So if you find any monetary value in this podcast, if you want to continue to fuel the dream here, my Venmo is always open at Daniel-Mabry, and really I'm looking for Patreon supporters. Patreon is a website where you can sign up to donate to me as little as $1 a month. Right now I just have 2 tiers, $1 and $5, and that just goes a really long way. And I'm about to really start making some content here, so hopefully I can get you guys who are Patreon supporters early content, exclusive content, that kind of deal. And yeah, I'll have stickers for sale as well, so hit me up on Instagram if you want some stickers, and enjoy the podcast. I really enjoy hanging out with Parker, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where he goes with his life. Thanks everybody. Peace. Really happy with what came out of it. Nice. So, Parker Johnson,
howdy.
Welcome to the program. Parker is someone who I met through Instagram. Chance?
Chance Allen.
Yeah,
was the one that.
Yeah, so I interviewed Chance, and Parker picked me up and started following me on Instagram, and then he really got I saw his post of him playing in the rivers and stuff like that, and I thought that was cool, but it really got my attention when he bought this snub-nosed school bus and started outfitting it to live in, and I was like, hey, I want to do that. Much more like the van life than the bus life, I guess. Yeah. But
you're on your way.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm definitely have used what I had
Yeah.
you know, and trying to make the best of it. So, but let's start off back. So you're from Saline?
Saline, Louisiana,
Yeah.
watermelon country.
Yeah, for sure. And from what I could tell, it looked like you grew up hunting and whatnot around there.
Yep. I'll say I grew up. I mean, that's how we got most of our meat for the year was if we didn't kill it, we had a slim year.
Yeah.
But yeah, so grew up hunting, fishing, just anything outdoors.
Yeah, for sure. You said you grew up on a farm or logging? I forget what you said.
No, so grew up in Friendship, right across from some chicken houses.
Okay.
That uncle had owned, and so did a little bit of that. But yeah, then moved out from there over to my grandparents, like 500 yards through the trees.
Nice.
So, and then lots of land to do whatever we wanted. So
cool. So where did you go to high school, I guess?
Saline High School.
Okay.
It's super small, Class C.
Yeah.
From pre-K to 12th grade was about 350 kids.
That's crazy.
Graduated with 13.
That's
So.
insane. I can't even imagine that. I am for just coming from West Monroe and like graduating with like 300 people. And it's I guess it's all you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
You know, you
Exactly.
can't experience, you can't get in other people's shoes and that kind of deal. But when obviously we talked a little bit about you'd made a run for college and tried to do that whole deal. I guess were you doing river guide stuff at that point, or was that after?
No, so from high school, had dead set I was gonna go cyber engineering.
Okay.
At Tech, and then within a week of going to class, I was like, this ain't gonna work out.
Oh no.
So from then I swapped a few times, doing different majors, business. I was in aviation at one point.
Okay.
So tried to pursue that, but that got very expensive very fast.
Indeed it does.
So after that, I had found a guide program out near Santa Fe in New Mexico and fell in love with it. And
do you remember like what made you want to do that? What made you lean that direction?
I've always been like somewhat a river rat. We would go on vacations and stuff, and I loved whitewater.
Yeah.
Been out to the Nantahala is the first true whitewater I really hit.
Where's that at?
Oh gosh, it's North Carolina, I believe.
Okay.
Right on it's kind of in the border of North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee.
Gotcha.
Near the Ocoee.
Okay.
You've heard of it.
Not familiar. I'm not very familiar with the East Coast at all, especially waterways.
Yeah. So went out there, did that, and it was with my aunt and uncle. Fell in love with the river.
Yeah.
Went back a couple more times, and then I was like, man, that would be a fun job.
For sure.
So,
was that just something that you just Googled, or how did you find that particular job?
So for the most part, it was just Google.
Yeah.
I was looking up different guide programs and came across this one in Santa Fe. Went and did it. Also did rock climbing and canyoneering, backpacking trips, stuff like that.
So was that something that you had to pay for?
Yeah.
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 And
for
you
sure.
you gained some kind of certification?
It was certifications, yeah. So I paid and then went. It was 3.5 months of intense learning.
Yeah.
And then you come out with, I think I had like 5 or 6 certificates.
For what?
Just to go guide in the outdoors. So whitewater rafting, I can guide backpacks, guide rock climbing trips.
Yeah.
Got my wilderness first responder. Coolest class I've ever taken. If
Yeah.
you're into like the medical field.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so did that and then ended up the program was through. I ended up staying with them for 3 summers and worked for them doing some backpacking trips and then a couple river trips. So
Cool. So what were you doing outside of summer?
First year, so I ended up working there summer and then stayed through Thanksgiving-ish as an intern and then came back to Louisiana, started selling insurance.
Okay.
good money, but I hated it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then went back out. Sold insurance for about 5 months.
Who are you selling insurance under?
Family Heritage.
Okay.
They have it's nationwide, but they've got a branch right there in Ruston, downtown.
What made you decide that?
So actually one of my friends at the time that I had met in college was on their hiring department. And he was like, hey, I know you're looking for a job. You should come check this out.
You had a connection.
We're always hiring.
Yeah.
We always need people. So, went to an interview. And, from there was hired within the week and went to training. Like, they sent me to Nashville for sales training. So, but, yeah.
And then you had to pass some tests or something.
I took I forget the name of the test. But whatever that is to sell insurance.
For sure.
So, I did that for a little bit, but don't think I would do it again.
Yeah. So what happened after that? You went to the guide service?
Yeah, after that, went back to the camp for the summer, ended up staying again.
Were you guiding like kids or is it adults or?
I worked with a family, like we have a family camp.
Okay.
So I was working in that department. So we had at one point a 2-week-old baby there.
Yeah.
And then grandparents up in their 80s.
Yeah.
So
But
I was mostly parents and like teenage-ish kids.
Okay.
So. And
you would guide like white rafting, white water rafting.
So every week they would raft. So our camp was Sunday to Saturday. So you get new people every week.
Yeah.
We do whitewater rafting, backpacking, mountain biking.
So you're the guy in the back steering and that kind of deal?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so.
That's cool.
Super fun.
And that was in New Mexico?
Yeah, on the Rio Grande.
Okay. So. There's some good whitewater there?
Yeah, we've got the main stretch that we would run was top class 3. But then we had a section that I haven't hit yet.
Yeah.
Called the box, and that was you were getting into 4s and 5s.
Gotcha.
Especially if the river was high.
Yeah.
Super dangerous.
So southern New Mexico, obviously. Northern.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Between Santa Fe and Taos.
Okay. All right. So the river's up there.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it that way. You just think about it on the border.
Yeah,
you know?
you do. I say when a lot of people, I say the Rio Grande, they're like, wait, there's whitewater on that?
Yeah. So, okay.
Yeah, this is the Rio Grande is a lot smaller.
Yeah.
In this section.
Yeah,
so
fair enough.
A lot less wide.
But I guess coming from the source.
Yeah.
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 And you would lead hikes around there,
mm-hmm.
and what kind of was it like overnight stuff or day hikes or?
Most of it was day hikes. I have guided a few overnights. We had a peak called Glorieta Baldy.
Okay.
So you'd leave from our base camp. It was about you could do it in a day.
Yeah.
But we typically make it about a 3-day hike. Go up. We had a cabin, what we called the back 40.
Yeah.
Had some land, and so we'd go up, stay at the cabin, summit the next day, come back, and then we'd do a polar plunge.
Yeah.
We had a big just pond
mm-hmm.
in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it was always freezing cold.
Like it
was spring fed.
Okay.
So
not necessarily an alpine lake.
No, this was man-made. They had dug it out.
Oh, okay.
There was a spring. They dug it out.
Gotcha.
Make it bigger.
Okay.
So.
10-4 or touche. What I guess how long was the hike to the peak?
Not too bad. It was typically about a 4.
I guess how many miles?
Oh, round trip was about 12 miles. So
okay.
About 6 one way.
Yeah, so you could do it one day.
You could do it in a day.
But it made it a whole lot easier to break it up.
Yeah. I say especially a lot of people we had came from Flatland, Texas.
Yeah, I was about to say.
So altitude was a big one.
Yeah, if you're dealing with families, that's something different.
Yeah.
You got to accommodate. You're not talking to a bunch of 20-year-old kids that are gung-ho.
I did lead a group of high schoolers. We had there were 3 guides. We did it in a day. 3 guides and about 50 high schoolers.
Wow.
And it was like they weren't fazed by the altitude.
Yeah.
Like we had some guys.
What altitude were you at?
So base was right at 7,500.
Okay.
The peak was 10,1.
Okay.
So not too low, but not the highest.
Yeah.
So yeah, we in that high school group, I had 2 guys that were cross country runners.
Mm-hmm.
Summited within like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Just booking it. Got
That's
to
funny.
the top. They were sitting there waiting. It's like, yeah, where do we go now? But
You kids need to go climb some 14ers is what you need to do.
exactly.
Yeah, that's funny.
So,
And I guess you're still to some degree associated with this camp? Or-
yeah, I say my last summer was this past summer, which I'd been trying to get on full time, but it just never worked out
Yeah.
the way I wanted to. So I was like,
I was about to say, I mean, it almost seems like you may have put the time in, but
yeah. I say I definitely put the time in, but it just never worked out to where either the positions that were open I wasn't suited for,
Mhm.
or like there just weren't any position. I didn't want it.
right.
So either I didn't have experience, or I didn't want it, or the stuff I wanted, somebody was still there.
That's fair.
So
you've left there?
yeah, for right now, unless something else opens back up.
Yeah.
In the field that I want. So
Fair enough. So we're here in Dillion, Colorado. I guess
Uh-huh.
we should mention that in
Yeah.
in a bunkhouse that Parker set us up in and has been living in for a couple months now, I guess.
Yep, since October.
Yeah. You working on ice castles,
Yes.
an ice castle in downtown Dillion, Colorado here.
Yep.
I guess talk about the process of finding this gig and moving up here.
Yeah. So one of the guys I went to college with, Joey, came up here last year, found it, and he was posting pictures on Instagram of building this ice castle, and I was like, that looks cool.
Yeah.
Like that's something I could get behind. So messaged him and was like, hey, like, how did you get this? And ended up, he's like, yeah, if you want to come up here next year, like, we always need people. So ended up applying around August of 2019. Then the owner called me within the next couple days, was on the interview, and like midway through the interview, he was like, yeah, you're hired. I've got to ask you some more questions, though, just for technicality.
That's cool.
But yeah, called him, and then came up here not knowing a single thing about what the process looked like.
Yeah.
What is an ice castle?
Yeah.
From Louisiana, like you don't see that.
Yeah.
So yeah, came up here. Well, between me getting hired, I was still out at the camp at that point.
Okay.
Then I went home, and that's when I got the bus.
Yeah. So, I mean, why the bus? Why that bus? You know, I guess things were kind of set up to, or they were. They was started, I guess.
It
to
kind
some
of
degree.
got, yeah, like the way everything worked out was crazy. So like I went home planning to get a short bus. So like I had been, before that I had a little Chevy Sonic that I had like laid the back seats down, had all my stuff in there, and like I could sleep in it if I needed to.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't the most comfortable.
Yeah.
So like I had been doing car life, I guess you could call it,
Yeah.
for a little bit. And then yeah, went back, had a short bus that I had found on Facebook Market, and I was like, great, everything looked good, everything the guy had told me, everything checked out. So it's like, well, before I buy it officially, I want to take it to a mechanic, get him to look it over, make sure I'm not getting screwed.
Yeah.
So ended up, took it to my cousin, which is manager of the Jiffy Lube on Tech Drive.
Okay.
It's like, hey, can you do me a favor? Check this out. And they got under it, and brake fluid was everywhere, and like it was just not in the best condition.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, if I can get it for this, then I can put the other money into getting it fixed and whatnot.
Yeah.
So ended up telling me, all right, I'll buy it for this. he didn't want to, but eventually he was like, okay. And then the next day, my old boss, I worked at Gadget Pros.
Okay.
Fixing phones for a while I was still in school.
Yeah.
Did that. He had bought a bus a couple years back to convert it and do whatever he wanted. Well, he no longer had the time or money to put into it. He's like, hey, I got this. Looking at selling it.
Yeah.
I'll cut you a good deal on it.
Yeah.
So ended up looking at it, engine-wise, perfect. They had just replaced it, had less than 50,000 miles on it.
Wow.
Cummins. So
Yeah.
Diesel. It's going to last a while.
For sure.
The motor will for sure outlast the bus frame itself. So, yeah, went, talked to him, had to call the guy from that I'd seen on Facebook. I was like, hey, man, look, no offense, but something else better came up.
Yeah.
And which I think he was glad too, because he could probably get some more money out of
Try
somebody
to finagle
else.
somebody else, yeah.
But anyways, yeah, so talked with Josh and bought the bus off of him. So I went from...
I'm about to say, so you didn't ever plan on having a...
I didn't plan on having a big
bus.
Yeah, so this one's 32 foot long, as is. So...
As a boat.
It's yeah, which it used to be. The story of it was on an Army base in Florida. Then it was a church bus in Mississippi. Now it's my bus.
Interesting.
So, but it's a lot easier to drive than I thought.
Yeah.
Because it was made for the military or Army. The wheelbase is short, so it could get around the base.
Gotcha.
And make super tight turns.
Yeah.
So it's
definitely
helped.
I was noticing that with the buses around the mountain here is, they're similar style.
Yeah.
And the turning radius is just incredible. Like, it really was blowing my mind. I was just watching it before I came back here. It's like, I could drive one of those. Like, if it turns that easy.
Yeah.
And there was already some work done to the bus whenever you got it.
Yeah. So whenever I bought it, he had already done the dirty work. I'll say he had gutted the whole thing. So I got it with absolute blank slate. While I was still in Louisiana, I wanted to get as much done as I could.
Yeah.
So ended up getting it spray foamed, insulated, resealed all the windows, and then that's about as much as I got done before I had to come out here. But
you'd like cut out some of the windows or gotten one of your friends to help you?
Yeah. Rhett, he's a welder. One of my buddies I had stayed with for a bit, and got him to weld some sheet metal on the back too, sort of so I could have a little garage area and put the nice stuff back there where I could lock it up, nobody could see it, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. So you like created another wall, I guess? Yeah. So
I've got the design drawn up, but I'm gonna have like the back portion of it blocked off. So like that's for all the adventure gear.
Yeah. You can access it from the back or the inside, I guess.
Yeah. So.
And will that be the only wall that you have?
For the most part, the only full wall.
Yeah.
And then cabinets and stuff.
You gonna try to put it in a full kitchen or close to it?
Close to it. That's the one thing I've been debating is like what I want that to look like.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to go mini fridge or if I want to see about putting a full size fridge.
Yeah.
Or like a apartment full size. Just so I have a little bit more room, I can go out, stock up, and then be boondocking it for a little bit longer than
no doubt
if I didn't. So, which again, it's all up in the air right now until it gets finalized and I actually build it out. So
yeah. So, I guess we should point out you are obviously in a sling here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Day 2 of Dan being here, I took Parker snowboarding and he got a little broke off, if you will. Having surgery tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oddly enough.
Yep. So
today's like February 2nd or 3rd. Today's the 3rd.
Today's the 3rd.
Yesterday was Palindrome Day.
Yep.
So that was blowing up social media.
Yeah.
But it seems like for what it is, it's not going to be a tremendous amount of surgery and
No, I say,
pretty quick recovery.
yep, type 5 AC joint separation. But after the surgery, about a week in a sling, and then should have quite a bit of motion. Go to physical therapy, 2 months, full recovery. So,
Yeah. I guess, like, I had something, but I lost it. So, you drove the bus here.
yes.
Let's talk about that, because that was an adventure.
That was a journey.
Yeah.
So the bus has a governor, which limits its speed to about 57 on flat land.
Did you know that
Yeah.
going in?
I knew that going in. I had plans to take it off,
Yeah.
so I could get about 65 to 70 out of it.
Right.
But looking at it, I didn't have the tools to do it myself, and it was going to be way too much for me to take it to somebody.
Yeah.
So what's supposed to be about a 19-hour drive from Ruston to here turned into about 26 over 5 days.
5 days?
Yeah.
So obviously you made some hard stops.
Yeah. First day, which I was also behind schedule because it took a little bit longer for me to find insurance and get my license plate in than I had imagined.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people like to insure big buses that are privately owned, especially if you don't have a CDL. Which you don't need one if you have it for what I do.
Right.
But yeah, so got in it and then just started cruising. Pedal down, lock it in, cruise control.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You have speakers in the bus, or you had headphones?
No, I had
in?
headphones.
Yeah.
I say there will be speakers at some point, but no, I was rocking the headphones the whole way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so got in it and started driving till I couldn't find a truck stop, pull off, and go to sleep. I had a hammock slung in the back, so not too bad. But
Like, you didn't see any sights or anything? You just drove until you couldn't for 5 days?
So I stopped in I think it's Decatur, north of Fort Worth.
Okay.
That was just at a truck stop, and then I stopped in Lubbock. No, Amarillo. Yeah, Amarillo. Saw a buddy, and yeah, after that drove back to the camp for a couple days, or for a day, and then I came up here. So
Kind of meandered your way around.
yeah, so,
Which I guess the camp doesn't sound like it's too far out of the way.
no, it's about 5. In the bus, it's about 5 hours south of here.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Oh, maybe only an hour out of the way for real.
yeah, I'll say it
Coming
didn't
up.
add much time at all.
Yeah.
So
So you got the bus here to Dillion, and you were able to keep it here for a couple days or so?
yeah, I kept it here for about a week and a half, 2 weeks.
And
Then they started putting notices on it.
Yeah.
Hey, move this or you're gonna get towed.
Get your big ass out of the way.
Pretty much. And then they had left a number to call. Man, it took 3 days to reach them on that number.
Oh, wow.
Nobody was in the office.
Huh.
So finally got a hold. They were like, "Yeah, you've got 48 hours to move it." And I was like, "I can't even get in touch with you to tell you I live here."
Yeah.
So finally got in touch with a guy, and he was like, "Yeah, mainly we were just trying to see whose it was, if you were a tenant or not." But then he was like, "Yeah, you'll have to move it." I had a certain date I had to move it by.
There wasn't any snow here yet, I guess.
So the day I got here, that night it had snowed, and that was pretty much the first snow of the season.
Gotcha.
But he was like, "Yeah, you really need to move it because of snow removal."
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't, they said it was going to be a problem there.
Yeah.
Which now there's a giant pile of snow where the bus was parked.
Yeah.
Out front of it. So yeah, ended up having to take it back down to the camp, cause everywhere within about hour and a half radius was either full or wanted way too much money a month for me to park it there.
Yeah.
So ended up taking it back down to the RV park that they have at the camp.
Gotcha.
Dropped it off there. brought a Greyhound back.
So you having to pay to keep it there?
No.
Okay.
So they were like, yeah, you're not using any utilities.
Yeah.
So just leave it there. We don't have that big of a rush of RVers.
Sweet.
So I was thankful for that.
Definitely. Well, and obviously, I'm sure your time spent there.
Yeah.
Aided that. For
sure.
Yeah, he took a Greyhound bus back.
Dude, 12 hours on a Greyhound it was a journey.
Yeah.
So I did it in a weekend, drove down, which was about 5 hours. Got there about 8 o'clock that night, then turned around 2 o'clock that morning, was on a Greyhound back up to Denver, and then over to Frisco, and then back to here. So,
did you have to change buses?
I had 2 bus changes, yeah. So one in Denver, and then I got dropped off in Frisco, and then that's in Summit County right here by Dillion.
So you just took the free bus. Yeah.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Public transportation.
Yep. Shout out Summit County.
Amen.
So yeah, I mean, when do you think you'll get back to the bus? Or when
I'm hoping to go down and pick it up. Probably mid to late March. Once it's kind of done snowing for the season.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna give the owners a call and be like, hey, can I bring my bus back?
Yeah.
So I can start working on it again.
Yeah.
So.
I know you like to do some video stuff every once in a while.
Yeah.
When did you pick that up? Where did you get inspired by that?
Yeah, so I've been doing video really since I can remember. Like, we had the big home camcorders that took the cassettes, and so like I got to play with that a little whenever I was younger, and I guess it really took off whenever I came to college. Started doing little projects here and there. And then eventually the guy was like, hey, can you help me make some promo videos for my DJ business? It's like, sure. So ended up doing that for a bit, and fell in love with it. I had been doing photography a little bit, but didn't really like the editing process.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the video way more. I felt like I could tell more of a story. But yeah, so picked up the camera and started videoing stuff. Then one of the times whenever I went back to Louisiana between camp and camp, started my own business, PJ Films.
Yeah.
So did that, did some work, did lots of weddings, did some work for tech, and then a few other businesses around.
Nice.
Western. So it was fun. Still enjoy it.
I was about to say, I feel like you've kind of hung it up to some degree.
For a little bit, pretty much since I came out here.
Yeah.
For the ice castle, it's kind of been put on a back burner.
Yeah.
Been trying to get out and do some stuff, but working there, we were working, especially during the build of the castle. We were working long hours, and at the end of the day, I was like, nope, just gonna go to bed. And I say my camera's been in a box for way too long.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
I've gotten out and done a little photography with it, but not video work.
Fair enough.
So,
just feel like you're, you live a life of adventure compared to a lot of other people.
Yeah.
It's just something that I think that you could share.
Yeah.
If you so chose to, obviously.
Yeah. So I've definitely thought about doing the vlog life for a little bit, which I feel at some point I want to make the bus full time, and like I don't know if you saw, but I've got a project planned for it. So like once that kind of kicks off, I'll probably pick up the video stuff quite a bit more.
Yeah.
Start doing some vlog work and.
Yeah, and I know you've tried to film a little bit of the process of the bus.
Yeah.
So far, and that's. You ever watch Casey Neistat?
Yeah.
So like Casey's like really good at like bringing up old footage, and because he's just been filming everything forever. Yeah. And that's something that I always think about is, even if you just film it, Like even if you don't use it right now, like just save it and you can use it for something later.
Yep.
And I've really debated on that, like the whole vlog thing, and it's a weird deal, you know. I very much, there's a part of me that wants to do it, but there's a very much part of me that doesn't.
Yeah. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is a lot of work. But I think, you know, in this particular situation that I'm in right now, like it's in my best interest to just do it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I was saying, like, along with Casey, there's Gary V.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a guy follow him 24/7.
Yeah.
It seems like.
Yeah.
Just recording
everything. Yeah, so. I love Gary. I follow Gary a lot, and I remember watching one of his videos, and he had been through a couple camera guys at one point, and this guy had been with him for maybe a month or so, and he just started cussing him. He's like, dude. And then he's like, it's on film, like it like cuts on, and he's like getting cussed out.
Dang.
And he's like, I told you, film everything. Like, put the camera on me.
Yeah.
And don't stop.
Yeah.
Like, I have a microphone on. It's connected to your camera. Let it roll. Like, you never know what I'm going to say. I never know what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
But there's so much content that we can come up with from the things that I say if you keep the camera on me.
Exactly.
And he's like, it's only going to make your job easier if you keep the camera on me.
Yeah.
So, which if I would love, I mean, that is honestly like what I would, the dream would be to follow someone else around.
Yeah.
You know, still be able to do the podcast whenever I wanted to.
For sure.
But like to where, you know, I could do my own thing, but I didn't have to be in front of the camera all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big struggle for me right now. But I've talked about Austin Augie a million times on this podcast, and he very much inspires me to do that because I really fell in love with him and who he is because he was putting it out there for everybody to see it and seeing all the emotion and stuff. So it's you know, I think as I continue on with this, I've been more hyped about it here recently than I have since I sold my house.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you kind of have to be. Like,
yeah.
I mean, if that's what you're gonna pursue, like all in or nothing.
Yeah. Yep.
So.
What's the future look like for you? I know it's kind of uncertain for the next couple weeks, but
yeah. So with this shoulder, we'll see. Still plan to be out here. I'll have probably another week or so off work. But yeah, after that, plan to get back to the ice castle, finish out the season, and then
till like May or something.
Yeah, late April or so.
Yeah.
Really just depends on weather and what happens.
Right.
If it stays cold, then I'll be here longer. If it warms up early, we'll be gone early.
Touche.
But after that, trying to hit the river this summer. Just do full-time river guiding instead of with the camp, go find a company.
Yeah.
Which probably go to the company I worked with while at the camp. Do that for a season and still mainly just work on the bus, see how much I can get done, finish the build on that, and then
I guess, do you see yourself doing what you're doing for long term? You know, like kind of seasonal work and bouncing around, and you know, you have a certain amount of freedom with that.
Yeah. I will say I enjoy the seasonal life.
Yeah.
When I get to travel to different, like doing different jobs and stuff, like I get to see different parts of the country.
Right.
And I'm the type of person that like I can stick with something if like I'm super passionate about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that change. I like not knowing what exactly is going to come next.
Yeah.
So for the foreseeable future, I would say probably sticking with the seasonal work.
Yeah.
I'm also doing some online website building, marketing stuff like that. So eventually, if I can do that full time, basically I'll be able to work from anywhere.
Yeah.
So I could just take the bus and go see the States and North, South America, wherever I plan to go.
We talked about you know, going to school basically and getting certifications. Like, is there anything else you want to pursue in that manner? Any other skills you're looking to pursue?
Not. I mean, I'm sure there are.
I mean, you want to go learn avalanche safety? Like,
I have. One thing I do, like, I thought would be really fun is to get my EMT. So, like, pretty much everybody in my family seems to be, like, in the medical profession.
gotcha.
Lots of aunts, my mom. But, so, like, there's just something about that field that interests me. So I've thought about doing EMT for a little bit, or getting my the wilderness EMT.
Okay.
So, like, I'm a woofer currently, wilderness first responder.
Gotcha.
So this would be, like, the next step up for me to go. But that would just be a time thing. Like, if it works out, sure, I'd love to go do it. But if it doesn't happen, okay, cool.
I mean, eventually you're going to have to seek it out.
Yeah, I will. Like, if it presents itself where, like, I have the time to put forth towards the, so, like, bumping, so, like, the woofer is like a 1 week course, whereas, like, the EMT is at minimum a couple months. So, like, most I've found are 3 to 6 month trainings. So it'd be settling down in a place long enough and, like, focusing only on that for that period of time.
Yeah.
And going and doing that.
And I guess maybe if you continued the lifestyle that you are,
Yeah.
then you would want to, like, have the bus finished before you did that, or you have a place to live.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, which with the bus, the name, I just came up with a name recently.
Okay.
The BLT.
The BLT.
Which is the bucket list transport.
Yes.
So, like, one, I've got a whole plethora of things, like, I want to do before I die. So I was like, all right, how can I do that? So the bus is obviously going to help me transport me to do my bucket list things.
Right.
But, like, along the way, I want to help other people accomplish their goals too. So, like, it's not only for me, but to share. Kind of got the idea from Yes Theory.
Okay.
On YouTube.
Definitely.
Just group of guys. They're based out of LA. But they do crazy random stuff with strangers and getting people to say yes.
Yeah.
So kind of want to, I guess, if I end up that route, the vlog style will definitely come out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, like, I guess foreseeable future, plan to stick with the nomadic seasonal jobs for a while.
What do you think? What do you think drives you? Like, I find myself to be a very selfish person. Like,
Okay.
honestly.
Yeah.
And I was taught at an early age by my father to bring your own vehicle. That way, whenever you get pissed off, you can leave.
Fair enough.
And I very much live my life like that. Like,
Yeah.
I want to be prepared. I want to be ready to go.
Yeah.
And whenever I'm ready to go, I want to go. Like, that's just kind of the way that I operate. What do you think inspires you to try to bring other people along your journey?
Honestly, just the shared experiences. Like, that's kind of like the mentality I've had, like, even with guiding. Like, I'm the guide because I know how to do this in a safe manner, and then help you have a great experience. So, like, I guess that same mentality of, like, yeah, cool, it's fun to go do this. Like, I can go summit 100 peaks by myself, but, like, whenever I help someone else summit that peak, like, just one peak, like, it just, I don't know, it's more fulfilling, I guess.
Yeah.
To help other people reach their goals, like, while also, like, having fun myself.
Right.
So,
it's the more that I'm sitting here thinking too about my own thoughts of what I just said, and it's like, I guess I don't seek out opportunities like that, but whenever opportunities to help or they're presented, I do take advantage of them.
Yeah.
But, like, I guess I don't necessarily go into it with that thought process.
And it also helps me get out of a comfort zone.
Oh yeah.
So, like, and that's, like, one of the things I've done, group development stuff. I was doing that with, like, high ropes and stuff in college, with the Owl Center.
Yeah, for sure.
So, like, helping people get out of their comfort zone into that like stretch and growth zone is like something I enjoy, like, because one, like, me going up and like asking random people, you know, like, let's go do something, I don't know you, but like, let's get to know each other and like go do some crazy activity, pushes me out of my comfort zone. But then also, like, if they're afraid or whatnot, like, I can help them overcome the fear,
Right.
and so like just helping other people grow, like, as I grow myself, like, has a big part to do with it. So
That's fair.
yeah.
That's fair. Where do you think you gained your adventurous spirit from? Because what our conversations outside of this kind of sound like most of your family are kind of homebodies.
For the most part, yeah. So like, even like extended family, everybody's stayed locally to North Louisiana for the most part. I don't know. Ever since I can remember, like, I've always been outdoors, like, doing stuff. Like, I've got pictures. I would go out behind the house and like build teepees, out of the most random things, and just like had fun doing that stuff. And then I went on. I traveled. I actually turned 13 in Canada.
Okay.
I was on a trip with my aunt up there, and I guess just like got the travel bug, really. So like, I've been there. Went down to Mexico for a little bit, and then went over to Turkey.
Nice.
Turkey's gorgeous.
What'd you do in Turkey?
It was a mission trip.
Okay.
In college, and yeah, we went over there for 2 weeks. The plans we had, we got there and they were like, oh yeah, by the way, we can't do this anymore. So ended up going to some colleges and like talking with some English majors there. So like, both spoke English, and then ended up going to a park, and like, we just got to know each other's culture, basically.
Yeah.
The culture over there it's honestly very similar to the South. A lot of people are just super welcoming. Like,
Wow.
It's not what the news portrays at all.
Yeah.
For that Middle Eastern part of the world.
Right.
But I would definitely go back. And so yeah, I guess just getting out, seeing, and like, part of the dream for the bus too is like, I want to hit all 50 states, hit the highest peak in each state.
Peaking.
Yeah. But
have you climbed some high peaks?
A couple. Not well. Obviously, Louisiana's highest peak.
It's there.
Yeah, it's there. But no, in New Mexico, Truchas. Then I want to get out and do. I tried to do Guadalupe in Texas, but it just didn't work out weather-wise.
Yeah, sure.
So right now I'm at 2. But
I'm at 3, brother.
Hey.
So catch up.
All right.
Louisiana, Texas, and Colorado.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, I did the Guadalupe last year with some friends.
Okay.
And one of which had already done it.
Yeah.
And she was like, whenever we get to the top up here, it's going to be like wicked windy.
Yeah.
And we got up there, and it was the most beautiful day in the world.
Nice.
It was so nice, man. It was a little warm, but like, I mean, we're in the middle of the desert in Texas. So,
exactly.
Yeah, it was a good trip.
Yeah. So I guess really just like, I want to see what else is out there. Honestly, like, for the most part, I grew up in North Louisiana where all you know is pine trees and mosquitoes.
Right there with you, brother.
So yeah, I guess part of it's just like the desire to see what else is there. Definitely want to get out to the Pacific Northwest, explore that part of the country. Seen lots of pictures, heard stories, got some friends up there.
For sure.
But yeah, really just see what the rest of the U.S. is like, and then also internationally.
I was about to say, do you have any international dreams?
Yeah, want to hit. So, if you have a U.S. passport, you can go to 166 countries without needing a visa. One of the goals is to hit at least 150.
Okay.
So
I need to find that list.
Yeah.
I like really want to go to Japan right now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think the culture is just so shockingly different than what we grew up 100%. Around, and they have some crazy powder on the North Island, so that's really why I want to go.
There you go.
But I think it would be cool to get into Tokyo and see all the lights and all the wild stuff. So
I'll say the top place right now that I want to go is New Zealand.
Yeah,
like I want to go raft New Zealand.
Yeah,
like if that's of my whole list, if that's the only thing I get to do, like it would be the one is go raft in New Zealand.
There's a girl I know from college who lives in New Zealand right now. She manages a hostel.
Okay,
shout out Rachel Sims. But yeah, that's the
kind of jealous.
Yeah, that has definitely been on my list as well. Australia and New Zealand have really been up there for a long time. Japan has just been recently, just because of snowboarding. But yeah, I've always wanted to go to Australia. I don't know why, but like from being a little kid, like
danger level.
Yeah, well, and the more that I learn about it, and the more that I learn about some culture there, it's a vast place.
Yeah.
And if you want to go live somewhere where there ain't nobody, you can do it there.
Indeed.
You might not have very many resources, but but it is there, and the space is available. But yeah, I would like to. Yeah, I think it'd be really easy to visit Australia because everybody speaks English.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I've been watching a lot of vlogs of a snowboarder named Casey Willax, and honestly, I'll shout him out all day. He does nothing but good, clean content, and is a big snowboarder, and it's always positive vibes. Okay. But they've been in Japan for like 2 weeks.
Nice.
And he posted a video the other day, and I didn't get to watch it all, but it was like a guide to snowboarding in Japan.
Jeez.
And so, but they got on this train. Okay. They got on a couple different trains, and he said that every time they got off a train, there would be people with like you have here in Breckenridge and stuff, like red jackets that have an eye, like an information logo on them. And he's like, you can walk up to these ladies and they speak perfect English. He was like, it's crazy. So I can just ask them any question about what I'm trying, where I'm trying to go. He's like, it's like, they will like pull out a piece of paper and write it down in English, like your play-by-play of what trains you need to take. He was like, the people here are absolutely incredible. So, I just listened to another podcast, the guy who really inspired me to do this, Kyle Thierman, and he's been in Morocco since New Year's. And he was interviewing a guy who's a big environmentalist and surfer there. And the reason that Kyle went there is because Kyle's a surfer and environmentalist, and Morocco wanted an American surfer and environmentalist to come and speak to this conference before there was like this gigantic beach cleanup. Okay. And he went, and he's done like four or five podcasts from there, and he just released a new series. It's called like Catching Up with Kyle or something, and it's like going to be every time he visits a country, he's going to put out a podcast at the end of like a guide, like a how-to, like things, certain phrases you should know in their language, and places you can go and places you can avoid, and that kind of deal. He was literally talking about the water. He was like, the place where we stayed, they say the water's good. He's like, but if you go one surf town over, they say that you'll be in the bathroom for 2 or 3 days,
Jeez.
And
that's good to know.
Yeah, stuff like that.
So that's super cool.
But every podcast, he was like, these people are so welcoming and so humble and willing to do anything and everything to help you. And he was like, it took me 4 days, but I finally did get sick from the water. Like the water did get me, and it took me 3 days to get out of bed. He's like, but those 3 days, I got checked on like 4 different times by the staff of the hotel, and like the owner even came by and was like bringing me medication and stuff. And he was just like, like you don't necessarily think of it that way. I mean, obviously he was a guest of theirs, but still, like the fact that people will go out of their way not knowing you at all to help you.
I think that's true. Like, I mean, people are people. Like, we just may not speak the same language. Like if you go overseas or like even Mexico, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, same thing with Turkey. Like everything the media had portrayed was like, yeah, you can't really show your face if you're white. Like,
Yeah.
something bad will happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it was some of the nicest people. Like, people would come up to us on the street. They'd know like a little bit of English and like trying to invite us to their place for dinner.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. Like once you sort of like let go of the stigmas of like people are so much more willing to help than what is portrayed. I feel like.
Well, I've been following this kid for like 3 years now. He's been unicycling around the world. His name is Ed Pratt. Look him up on YouTube.
Sounds interesting.
Has a great video. He started at 18 years old, left the UK, headed east.
So, unicycling.
Yeah, 36-inch wheel unicycle.
Good gosh.
With like, he has this big long pole that goes underneath his seat, and it's got panniers on it, custom-made panniers on it. He's got a bunch of water bottles and stuff. It's really funny. He's finished his journey now, but he's been posting his U.S. leg on YouTube, like an episode a week for the past couple months.
Okay.
But to observe his journey and to watch the amount of doors that he knocked on and asked if he could sleep in the backyard or whatever, and people were like, come inside, like eat with us. Like, and it's just like, it's incredible, you know. He's like, you know, I don't want to be a burden on these people, but like at the same time, they're just so friendly. Like, I have to turn them down sometimes because I have to keep moving, you know, I have to keep my journey going. Yeah. And ended up that's what happened whenever he got to America. He took a long time to get from San Francisco to Texas, and then basically blew through Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, and I was like, well, I mean, whatever, Ed, you do whatever you need to, but he was trying to get to New York City, so he stopped there. He was in Alabama the last episode, so.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I don't know, Parker, I think that you can do whatever you want to. Yeah. I think that you should go after your EMT. I think you should definitely become specialized in something, certified in something, you know. I'm really excited to see what happens with the bus and see what happens with your life, honestly.
So, dude, honestly, I'm just ready to get that bus built.
Yeah.
And, like, once that's done and can get moving, I feel like get some steam behind that because it's been at a standstill for – which it's crazy because I just got the bus, like, 4 months ago. Yeah. But it feels like I've had it a lot longer. Yeah. But it's – just because it's been at a standstill all winter, I'm just, like, antsy to get back at it. But, yeah, no, once it gets done, like, I feel like it's going to blow up and we'll be doing big things and
for sure
going all over.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'm incredibly thankful of you to allow me to stay here and you know, reaching out to me and establishing our friendship and making it happen. I really
glad I have the opportunity to meet you.
Yeah, for sure. So. It was, you know, I realized that you were up here and that I was coming this way, and I'm just thankful you responded. Thankful you were kind enough to let me hang here.
Wish our first couple days wouldn't have gone as
it
did, but
yeah, dude, like
could have hit some more powder, but you know,
honestly, like you kept apologizing, but I kept wanting to be the one to say sorry. Like I was the one flying down the mountain, you were trying to hang with me, I guess, and whatever. It's dust in the wind now.
It is.
We'll
definitely hit the mountain at some point in the
honestly,
future.
Dude, we were going up. We were riding the gondola back to the base, and I was like, man, you know, I've had some cool like first interaction stories of people, but
I was gonna say
we're gonna remember this friendship forever. Like
within 24 hours of knowing you're taking me to the clinic.
Yeah. A week later, you're having surgery. Yeah. So. Gosh. Well, tell the people where to follow you, where to follow the bus, and all that.
So I'm on Instagram, Smokey_River_Johnson.
Where did that come from? I wanted to ask you that.
So I was at one of my friend's bachelor parties, and he was giving everybody nicknames, and mine ended up being Smokey. Okay. And I was the
River guide.
I was
Yeah.
doing
Okay.
the river stuff.
I guess that was where
so-
where Smokey didn't make sense. So.
Yeah. So no, like whenever I got to college, I met this guy and like a group of a few others, and we started smoking pipes and cigars.
Okay.
We would go to Governor's in Monroe.
Yeah.
All the time, and yeah, ended up some of the best friends, like closest I've been with guys has been sitting in a fire.
Do you know Jansen? Or did you know Jansen?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
But I had like heard his name, but I don't know him really.
Fair enough.
So
Smokey River Johnson.
and then the bus is at the BLT or the BLT bus project underscores as well. So the underscore BLT.
I'll leave all the links in the description for sure.
So
and yeah, cool.
Sweet.
Well, I'm gonna leave here in a couple days, but this will by far definitely not be the last time that we see each other, Parker.
For sure.
I think we have very much similar visions and traveling and seeing the world and trying to meet new people and
for sure
and all that good stuff. So I definitely see us linking up again in the future. So
for sure, I'll say, and I'm excited to see where you go.
Thank you, man. I'm excited to see where I go too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Peace.